The Withering Veil. Chapter 1. Blossoms of Burden. Elara Thistlewood stood at the edge of the Ravenclaw common room, tucked beneath a slanted ceiling of aged blue stone. The dim light flickered against the walls, filled with floating candles and reflective portraits of wise old witches and wizards, each a testament to the house's legacy of intellect. As the gentle hum of laughter and chatter surrounded her, she felt a twinge of unease. Her eyes roamed the room, finally landing on the clock that ticked away the minutes until her herbology class with Professor Sprout would begin. Though the students around her busied themselves, some clustering over textbooks and parchment notes, others engaged in the latest gossip, Elara preferred the company of her plants. Having cultivated an affinity for herbology since her first year, she found solace in the vibrant greens and intricate blooms of the magical flora that adorned the greenhouses. Today, however, she felt an unusual sense of anxiety swirl within her. The day marked the introduction of a new curriculum, one involving rare and often temperamental plants from the far reaches of the magical world. It was exhilarating, yet daunting. Elara had always loved the hands-on aspect of herbology, the earthy scent of soil and the cool, damp touch of leaves beneath her fingertips. Still, the prospect of these new magical challenges loomed like a shadow over her eager heart. As she entered the greenhouse, the atmosphere shifted. It was larger than it appeared from the outside, filled with towering fauna that twisted upwards, leaves rustling like whispers. Multiple tables were set up for the day's work, and at the center, Professor Sprout awaited them with an eager gleam in her eye. Elara felt a flutter of nervousness as her classmates settled into their spots, the familiar faces of her fellow Ravenclaws mixed with some from other houses, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. "Welcome, my dear students," Professor Sprout began, her floral-patterned robe billowing around her as she gestured toward the assortment of plants lining the greenhouse. "Today we embark on an exciting journey with the Flora Mortalis, specifically, the rare Luminoso vine and its rather peculiar cousin, the veiled blight." Elara blinked, her heart racing. She had read about the Luminoso vine, a plant said to emit a soft glow when it was healthy, and to invoke a melancholy aura when in distress. The veiled blight, on the other hand, was known for its unpredictable behavior. It withered not only under neglect but also under too much care, demanding a delicate hand to thrive. As the class proceeded, Professor Sprout detailed the properties of each plant, discussing their magical uses and cultivating techniques. Elara's heart soared with each new piece of information. Herbology had always felt like home. After the initial lecture, they were divided into smaller groups, tasked with tending to the plants and observing their reactions to various treatments. Elara found herself paired with Rowan Jeffries, a boisterous Gryffindor with an unquenchable thirst for adventure, and Mathis, a quiet yet determined transfer student from Beauxbatons. This unfamiliar dynamic piqued her curiosity. Mathis was striking, with an aura of mystery surrounding him that she couldn't quite place. Over the weeks, their small team worked diligently in the greenhouse. Elara reveled in the camaraderie, growing more confident in her abilities. Mathis often offered insights, his knowledge of herbology from Beauxbatons both impressive and intriguing, while Rowan kept the morale high with his endless enthusiasm, which sometimes bordered on mischievousness. Elara felt herself slowly emerging from her introverted shell, and it was an odd but welcome feeling. Yet as days turned into weeks, an unsettling pattern emerged. The Luminoso vines they had been nurturing began to fade, dimming despite their constant care. Word spread through the other houses of the mysterious withering incidents plaguing the greenhouses. No plant seemed to be immune. The once vibrant atmosphere of their classes dulled, whispers filled with worry permeated the air, and Professor Sprout became increasingly concerned. Chapter 2. Shadows Gather. It was a warm November evening when Elara, Rowan, and Mathis gathered in the library, drawn there by a shared desire to uncover the root of the problem. The flickering candlelight danced across the rows of bookshelves filled with knowledge, a comforting cocoon amid the surrounding tension. I can't believe no one knows what's happening, Rowan said, flopping down in a plush chair. It's like the plants are, I don't know, cursed or something. Curses often have origins, Mathis replied, his fingers tracing the spine of a nearby book. Perhaps we're overlooking something. There might be a connection to the disrupted ecosystem in the greenhouses. Elara felt a spark of determination. I've been thinking, the plants all started to wither around the same time a new student arrived. Coincidence? The air thickened with expectation. You think it could be? I don't know, Elara interrupted, her brow furrowing as she spoke. But it's strange that we've never had this issue before. If we could find out more about Mathis' arrival, I'd be happy to help you with that, Mathis said, leaning forward with a curious glint in his eyes. I'm sure Beauxbatons has records or lore about any magical disturbances that might have echoed through the plants. Hours slipped by as they delved into various tomes, searching for clues. Each page turned brought them closer to a revelation about the plant's degradation, yet the sense of unease lingered. As the shadows cast by the flickering flames lengthened, Elara felt the weight of mystery pressing down upon her, a sensation that felt both exhilarating and daunting. The trio decided to investigate the greenhouses after hours, choosing vibrant but rare Bloomthorn nightshade as their subject, known for its unique properties that could illuminate truths entwined with shadows. Its brimming purple flowers and phosphorescent leaves beckoned to them, as if it sensed their calling. As they entered the greenhouse, the atmosphere was thick with hesitance. The moonlight streaming through the glass illuminated the surface of the soil, revealing a patch of the cursed nightshade withering among healthy counterparts. Elara knelt, inspecting the plants. A chill crept along the spine of her neck. What's wrong? Rowan whispered, peering over her shoulder. The Bloomthorns, she murmured, together they thrive, but alone. Something feels off. Mathis knelt beside her, examining the roots. Something else must be affecting them. Plants don't usually wither without cause. Elara mimicked Mathis, checking the soil and leaves closely. To her shock, she discovered tiny, silvery threads, a web-like substance intertwining among the roots. The threads sparkled strangely, almost entrancing. What on earth? Elara gasped, gently pulling the threads free. Those aren't normal, Rowan exclaimed. What is it? It could be some sort of parasite, Mathis suggested, frowning. Or maybe the mark of a dark spell. We need to be careful, whatever it is. Suddenly, the greenhouse door creaked open, casting an ominous shadow. The trio froze. A figure stepped inside, cloaked and hooded, moving deeper into the greenhouse with a purposeful stride. Who goes there? Elara called, her heart racing. The figure whirled around, revealing a surprisingly familiar face, a new student from Slytherin. I'm here on business, he replied, his voice low and smooth. You're meddling in something beyond your skills, Thistlewood. Elara took a step back. What do you know about the plants? Why are you here? The balance has been disturbed, the Slytherin sneered. Leave now, if you value your intelligence. You're causing the plants to wither, aren't you? Elara accused, but he only laughed darkly before vanishing back into the shadows, leaving an unsettling silence behind. Chapter 3: Revelations and Relationships. Days rolled by, filled with tension as Elara and her friends focused on their investigation. Between classes, hushed conversations buzzed through the corridors of Hogwarts. Whispers of a sinister presence clouded the air, the connection between plants and the unseen threads seemed undeniable. But their efforts bore little progress, until one fateful afternoon in Herbology class, when they noticed that all houseplants across Hogwarts were starting to reflect signs of distress. Professor Sprout, now frantic, gathered the houses together for an emergency meeting. I must implore you, she exclaimed, looking at her students with deep concern. We cannot allow this issue to fester, or it might plague us all. The magical environment of Hogwarts relies heavily on the health of our plants. As the meeting ended, Elara found herself in a whirlwind of thoughts. Rowan was animatedly discussing potential remedies, while Mathis contemplated deeper. You know, he started slowly, It might be more than just a curse. It may involve some sort of emotional connection, an echo from the past. What do you mean? Elara asked, her brow furrowing. Plants can absorb emotions, and if someone is channeling negativity or pain, it could harm them, he elaborated. We need to dig deeper into the history of this school. Alara's heart raced at the idea. History was indeed potent, especially in a place like Hogwarts, where every inch of the building seemed to carry stories of those who came before. What if we explore the Room of Requirements? Elara proposed. It could hold secrets about the plants that might be useful. The next evening, armed with determination, Elara, Rowan, and Mathis set out for their mission. A flickering torch lit their path as they reached the corridor leading to the Room of Requirements. Alara's heart pounded in her chest as she concentrated on the knowledge they sought. Moments later, the ancient door materialized before them. Inside, they found a cavernous space adorned with ancient tomes and vibrant flora. A small desk held a collection of brittle scrolls, crumbling with age. "Look," Rowan exclaimed, his eyes wide as he leafed through one of the scrolls. "It talks about past disturbances, dark energy patterns that disrupt the magical plant ecosystem." As they studied the texts, Elara stumbled upon a sketch that made her breath hitch, a drawing depicting the very same silver threads she had seen entwining around the Bloomthorn nightshade. "It says here that those threads are created by the emotional residue of destructive magic, a reflection of someone's pain," Elara read aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. "They feed on despair." Mathis's gaze darkened. "Then we need to find out who harbors that despair, the one who's linked to these threads." The pull of mystery intertwined with a growing sense of camaraderie among them, a palpable bond forged through ambition. As Elara witnessed her friends poring over the texts with rapt attention, she recognized how much she treasured their support. Rowan's laughter, Mathis's calm insight, their teamwork melded into something greater than each individual. The next day, back in the greenhouse, Elara couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every rustle of leaves seemed amplified, the plants whispering among themselves. She felt a sudden need to escape the increasingly oppressive atmosphere, but while the other students worked, Elara remained rooted to her spot. "Are you all right?" Mathis asked, noticing her disengagement. "I keep thinking about the Slytherin student, the one who threatened us." "There has to be a connection," Elara replied, furrowing her brow. Before Mathis could respond, a sudden commotion erupted at the far end of the greenhouse. Cries and shouts startled them. Elara's heart plunged as chaos unfurled around them. A series of luminoso vines, seemingly possessed by a malevolent force, wreathed strikingly as students yelled in alarm. "Stay back," Professor Sprout's voice echoed as she rushed toward the frenzy, attempting to calm the plants. "Mathis, help me," Elara shouted instinctively, and they dashed toward the tumultuous vines. Through teamwork and quickly synthesizing their knowledge, Elara and Mathis worked collaboratively, using charms and care to soothe the plants. Each incantation felt both powerful and fragile, the balance resting on a knife's edge. With Rowan's spirited encouragement, the vines began to settle, their glow returning to a steady brilliance. Relief washed over them as the chaos subsided, leaving only an eerie silence and a sense of profound victory in its wake. "I think we managed to save them," Elara said, breathless, her heart racing. "But how?" Professor Sprout approached, her expression a mixture of admiration and concern. "You did an incredible job, Elara and Mathis. But we must still seek the source of this disturbance, and I fear it is deeper than we suspect." Chapter 4: Secrets in the Shadows. The events in the greenhouse sparked an urgency within Elara and her friends. The unraveling mystery felt almost like a quest. After careful contemplation, they decided to confront the Slytherin student they had encountered before. No longer would they allow this shadow to loom over the greenhouses. "Maybe he's hidden away in the Slytherin common room," Rowan suggested one evening. The trio conspicuously glanced at each other, uncertain yet resolute. "Or perhaps the dungeons," Mathis added. "We can observe from a distance." Over the next few days, They carefully observed the comings and goings of Slytherin students, attentively waiting for an opportunity. Finally, one day, as dusk settled over Hogwarts, they spotted him, a tall, brooding figure moving toward a less traveled corridor near the dungeons. "Now's our chance," Elara whispered, adrenaline coursing through her veins. They crept silently, careful to avoid being spotted, until they reached a window that overlooked the corridor. They could see the Slytherin student speaking in hushed tones to a group of lingerers around an ancient painting. Its eyes gleamed, almost watchful. "Who is he talking to?" Rowan murmured. "What's going on? Let's get closer," Elara urged, her curiosity igniting her bravery. Stealthily, they moved closer, just as they managed to catch snippets of conversation that revealed forgotten lore regarding magical plants and buried emotions, early warning signs of the curse currently affecting the greenhouses. "It won't be long now," the Slytherin student said, his voice taking on a chilling tone. "Once enough plants wither, my efforts will finally be acknowledged." Elara's stomach twisted with anxiety. "This is bigger than we thought. We need to stop him." Just as they prepared to confront him, a flurry of movement stirred in the shadows, and out stepped a familiar face, Professor Snape. "What are you three doing lurking in the halls?" he demanded, his eyes piercing. Caught off guard, Elara stammered, We were just gathering information for Herbology." Snape raised an eyebrow, his expression skeptical. "Gathering information while eavesdropping on Slytherins? How rather Ravenclaw of you." As Elara scrambled for words, Mathis interjected, "We overheard something troubling. We believe someone is using dark magic against the plants." Eyes narrowing, Snape considered their words before nodding imperceptibly. "Very well," he said, glancing to the shadows. "Follow me. We must confront this situation." The tension grew as they followed Snape into an old chamber, where dwindling light emanated from magical plants growing into disarray. With a mere flick of his wand, he illuminated the space, revealing the Slytherin student at the center, surrounded by dark tendrils, the remnants of withered flora that wreathed with resentment. "Enough games," Snape commanded firmly, stepping into the room with authority. The weight of his presence was palpable. "Your havoc will end here." With a sudden burst of energy, the Slytherin student unleashed the tendrils toward Snape, but Elara, blinking with instinct, raised her wand with newfound courage, echoing the protective spells she had practiced. "Protego!" she shouted, conjuring a magical barrier that wove seamlessly into the tendrils. The tension escalated. Magic burst through the air as Snape countered with a spell of his own. With Elara's heart pounding, she joined in a symphony of incantations, lending strength to the protective barrier that bound the shadows. A scorching wave rushed through the room, a fierce dance of light against dark as spells crackled around them, illuminating the chaos and pulsating emotions. At that moment, Mathis called out, "Back into the light." For the plants. Inspired by Elara's bravery, he redirected the energy toward the source of despair, the Slytherin, channeling the magic toward healing rather than destruction. Under the combined influence of their magic, the tendrils began to recede, giving way to a calming breeze that wrapped around the plants, reinvigorating their life force. Amid the shattering standoff, the Slytherin's expression transformed into an unsettling mixture of despair and fury. "You'll regret this," he hissed, retreating into the shadows, leaving only the echoes of his condemnation. As the air settled, Elara turned to Professor Snape, heart-pounding. "We have to find a way to sustain the plants." Snape's expression softened momentarily. "You've shown remarkable courage and intuition today, Thistlewood. But this is only the beginning." Chapter 5: A New Dawn. The following weeks felt like a haze. The rumor mill of Hogwarts had been set alight with accounts of bravery and chaos. With the Slytherin student fled, the specter of dread still loomed, and plants continued to show signs of distress. Yet through adversity came a bond between Elara, Rowan, and Mathis, deepening their friendship amidst the shared experiences of magic and mystery. They began organizing the flora within the greenhouse, tending carefully to each plant, whispering encouragement and restorative spells, using the healing knowledge they harvested from the old texts. Professor Sprout praised their continued efforts, noting their improvements, even as Elara wrestled with a sense of urgency. The rare flora mortalis needed nurturing, and every day blossomed into new challenges. Then one evening, as Elara pored over the study notes, she stumbled upon a passage detailing a rare ritual, one that required the unity of plant and magic, the bloom of wholeness. It needed simultaneously several healthy plants connected under a spell of deep emotional binding, but the knowledge required was profound. Would it be possible to bring together all our strengths? Mathis asked, his eyes alight with hope. If we bind together the essences of these plants, will it heal the others? His question sparked something within Elara's heart, but uncertainty lingered. I believe we can, but our bond needs to be pure. It will require honesty, openness. She hesitated, looking from Rowan to Mathis. It'll likely draw on emotional truths we may not want to face. The two nodded in agreement. They were willing to fight for their plants, for Hogwarts, no matter how daunting the challenge may be. In the dim light of one fateful evening, the trio gathered in the greenhouse once more. They selected the Bloomthorn nightshade, along with remnants of the Luminoso vines. Together they stood amidst gathered flora, chanting and weaving spells as dusk deepened. Each incantation blended with threads of their emotions, their hopes and fears pouring into the atmosphere. Elara felt her heart race as she opened her soul, surrendering past insecurities and the weight of her introversion. Each confession created a spectral bond, magnifying into waves of energy around them. As magic surged, the plants glimmered, a beautiful tapestry of life and light encircling the air. Elara's heart swelled with warmth. She felt the collective bond pulling the darkness away. Just as they reached the crescendo, a brilliant surge of energy erupted, engulfing the trio. In that moment, she beheld a vision, the collective history of Hogwarts plants, their stories revealed in the intertwined strands that pulsed with power. A radiant swirl of brightness enveloped them, illuminating the entire greenhouse, bursting the tendrils of despair that suffocated the flora. Voices resonated through the air, echoing kindness and acceptance. Even blossoms that had withered began to revive, blooming anew before their very eyes. As Elara stumbled back, breathlessly observing the transformation, she felt clarity wash over her. The plants had absorbed their intentions, revitalizing the connections throughout Hogwarts. Chapter 6: The Ties That Bind. Within the weeks following their triumph, Hogwarts buzzed with renewed energy. The stories of bravery inspired countless students, a reflection of enduring friendship and resilience that echoed through the hallways. Elara flourished amidst the changes. Her dormitory buzzed with enthusiasm, her Ravenclaw house learned the importance of unity and trust. Each study session became filled with laughter, knowledge shared freely among friends, no longer just a scattered collection of individuals, but a cohesive family. Rowan's bravado intertwined seamlessly with Mathis's quiet wisdom, each supporting the other as they excelled, setting a foundation for future endeavors. Elara reveled in it, her confidence blossoming with the friendships she had cultivated. One day, as they all hugged their copies of Herbology texts, an invitation to a celebratory feast for all houses was delivered. It would gather students together as a homage to the strength that emerged from unity, as well as a celebration of the returned vitality of Hogwarts greenhouses. At the Gryffindor table, cheers erupted, while a proud Professor Sprout offered a heartfelt gratitude for the students' unwavering spirit. Elara's heart soared watching Rowan cheer loudly, Mathis's smile illuminating the space, and an air of hope entwined around them. Amongst the laughter and joyful clamor, Mathis leaned toward Elara. "You've changed things for the better, you know. Hogwarts feels alive again." "Thanks to all of us," Elara replied, feeling a flush of warmth at the endearing words. "Your wisdom inspired me to take those risks." Mathis met her gaze steadily. "And you've shown me how to truly listen to the magic of nature." Weeks turned into months, and although the mystery of that dark figure still loomed in the background, the bonds created during that dark chapter strengthened their resolve. Together, they nurtured the flora of Hogwarts, ensuring the delicate balance it deserved upheld against the shadows. Chapter 7: A Blossoming Future. As spring unfurled its petals across Hogwarts' verdant grounds, Elara found herself blossoming alongside the flora she cherished. Her Ravenclaw instincts melded intricately with her newfound friendships, granting her confidence she never thought possible. With Mathis and Rowan by her side, they became an inseparable trio, revered by their peers for their contributions during those tumultuous months. Each day was filled with opportunities for learning and laughter, each moment a reminder of how far they had come. But as blooms filled the greenhouses, Elara felt the stirring echoes of the past lingering still. The Slytherin student had vanished, but the threats of darkness often came in waves, rippling through the magical community. Underneath the blooming plants lay the remnants of turmoil, each petal a reminder of fragility. One evening, she found herself in thoughtful contemplation, staring into the night sky from the tallest hill overlooking Hogwarts. The enormity of the world spread out like an intricate tapestry, each star a point of magic waiting to be explored. "Are you all right?" Mathis approached quietly, his voice breaking the reverie. "Just thinking," Elara said softly, smiling up at him. "We've come so far, haven't we?" He nodded, his face lit by the starlight. "We're only at the beginning. There are more mysteries to solve, and more plants to nurture." "But I feel ready," Elara replied, determination brightening her spirit. "Together, we can overcome anything." With renewed resolve, Elara felt that whatever path lay ahead, she would face it with her friends. There would always be shadows, yet within those shadows grew resilience, bound with friendship, each blossom heralding the dawn of a new adventure. Chapter 8: The Bond of Nature. As the seasons changed, Elara embraced every opportunity, uplifting those around her with the promise that challenges shaped them, that the ever-shifting world of Hogwarts offered no lack of wonder. Each plant nurtured became a symbol of hope, a testament to their efforts in the face of adversity. In their shared journey, they began documenting their discoveries, combining their knowledge into a collaborative portfolio on magical plants, ensuring their learnings would endure, a gift for future students. Yet somewhere in the recesses of their hearts lurked the memory of darkness, and Elara knew they would ultimately have to confront the truths that dwelled beneath the surface. One day in late spring, as they gathered in the greenhouse, the atmosphere pulsed with vibrant energy. The plants glimmered, fresh and alive, seemingly rejoicing at their shared efforts. Elara took a breath, feeling the magic permeate around her. "Today, let's celebrate," Rowan declared, his enthusiasm as radiant as the sun filtering through the greenhouse. With bright smiles, they excavated the chorus blooms, luminescent flowers that sang in harmony when tended with affection. They nestled together amongst the leaves, coaxing the blooms alive, laughter spilling through the air. And when the music echoed through the greenhouse, they knew their bond was profound, a symphony that resonated with the hopes of their dreams. In that moment, Elara realized that the mysteries of life would continue to weave themselves in intricate patterns, each challenge a chance to grow, each friendship a bloom waiting to flourish. They had planted seeds that would nurture something far greater than themselves. As she moved through the vibrant leaves, a sense of belonging enveloped her, creating roots deep within. Whatever obstacles lay ahead, she knew she could weather them with her friends at her side, together as a family united by magic, nurtured by herbs, and steadfast against the shadows. The world outside may continue to shift with uncertainty, but within the garden of Hogwarts, hope thrived, carrying with it the promise that every shadow eventually leads to a bloom. And together, they would always protect it. The end.